Hello and welcome to another episode of Sunday Tea, the podcast where we discuss things that trigger us, heal us and help us to grow. And I've been thinking a lot about how we can't be everyone's cup of tea. And we spend a lot of time and energy going through life trying to please people, trying to adapt to certain environments and situations, and putting ourselves in positions that in some ways don't really reflect who we are or where we want to be. And putting ourselves out in ways that can generally end up holding us back. And the reason I've been thinking about this is because I feel like myself, I've always tried to give the best of myself to the people that I'm around in terms of like my family and my friends. And sometimes you're not always accepted for who you are. And I just feel like we waste a lot of energy and time but trying to cater to other people and trying to please other people who at the end of the day don't appreciate it. And just reflecting on the times in my life and the periods in my life where I have done that. And it really hasn't benefited me, because there are people in our lives who are intent on seeing us in a way that isn't truly reflective of who we are, but they build this perception and they build this narrative of who they want us to be. And it really doesn't matter how kind you are, how generous you are, how good-hearted you are. They will never want to see those qualities in you if that's not who they want you to be. And I know I've been in situations in my life where people have made up rumors about me, or they have spread lies and, how can I say, they've tried to slander my character. That's the best way I can describe it. And when those things happen, it's really, really hurtful, because you realize that you're dealing with people who are not genuine. You're dealing with people who are not reciprocating the love that you feel for them back to you. And I'm a believer, like, time will tell. Like, time will always show a person's true colours. And as much as, rumours and lies, as much as they are hurtful and as much as they can be damaging to a person's character, I sometimes feel like if you try and, justify yourself or prove yourself or give more of your energy to proving that you're not who people are portraying you to be, it's just, I just don't think it's a way to really productively handle that situation. And I just feel like if you know who you are and you have good people around you who truly know who you are, the opinions of the small people, the opinions of the odd few who are intent on building this negative narrative around you, it's not important. They're not important. They clearly have nothing going on in their lives for them to be using so much of their energy trying to bring you down. And I just find it quite fascinating that people behave in this way. I mean, you are who you are, and when you are a good person and when you are coming from a place with good intention, you're always going to attract people who are the opposite. And if you don't know how to use discernment and you haven't yet built that capability of judging somebody's character and not ignoring the red flags that people present to you when they show you who they are the first time. When someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. If somebody shows you a certain type of behavior, or if somebody is a gossip, or somebody is jealous, or somebody has certain type of characteristics that don't make you feel comfortable, and they might not be directing it at you in that moment, but there will come a point in time where they will direct that energy your way. And as an example, I mean, there are so many people who like to gossip and talk about others, and it's always wise to consider that the way they are gossiping to you about other people is the same way they're going to gossip about you to other people. And that's just one example of many that I've come across in my life. But I always find that it's the people who need to do the most work on themselves. They are the ones who are always finding a way to drag other people down. And I guess it's like a way to lift themselves up. It's a way to make them feel validated. It's a way to distract from their own characters and who they are. And I think as you go through life and you experience, if you have the disadvantage of experiencing people like this, you know, as you go through life, you start to become wary of more people, and you also learn to use more like discernment and caution when you do meet new people, or if people try to re-enter your life, you start to question their intentions and their motives a lot more, especially if those people haven't shown any sign of having changed, or having built any form of self-awareness, or done any work on themselves to become better people. So I just feel like I'm a very sensitive person, and when I would hear certain things, you know, that people might have said, or just certain perceptions that people may have of you, certain misunderstandings, you know, going through your life being misunderstood is a really lonely place to be. And when you go through your life being misunderstood, and when you go through your life being around people who are intent on picking out negative things, and they avoid looking at the good parts of you and the positive parts of you, and they don't try to like build you up, their whole kind of, it's like the reason they're in your life is to keep tearing you down. When you spend your life around people like that, it can really break you down in so many ways that you don't actually realize until you get to a point where you kind of lose yourself. And I just think that it's really important not to expose yourself to people like that. And protecting your energy is really one of the most valuable things and gifts that you can give to yourself. And I've worked so hard on creating peace in my life that even if I have a conversation with somebody and we might, reflect on past experiences or things we've been through in the past or certain people we've engaged in, and it immediately affects your frequency. It immediately affects your vibration. And you have to be so aware of that fact of how it can lower your mood for the rest of the day. You really have to learn to dissociate from your past and the people who have tried to bring you down in your past. And I don't really know where I'm going with this conversation. I just think that we go through things in life that can be really hurtful, and when, the people in our lives are the ones who are hurting us, it's a hard pill to swallow. And I just don't think that we should spend our energy trying to justify ourselves or trying to prove who we are. And I just believe that if you're a good person and you have a good heart, that you need to remove yourself from anybody who isn't in alignment with those qualities. And if you're going to expose yourself and sit around people who are not going to accept you, no matter who you are and no matter what you do, you kind of have to expect that your life isn't going to make progress in the way that you deserve it to. And just understanding that there are people out here who don't necessarily have the best intentions for you. There are people out here who don't necessarily want to see the light side of you. And they are the people that you have to stay away from. And they come disguised in many ways. They come disguised as friends. They come in the form of family. And you just have to be really strong in setting boundaries and being really strict on who you do and don't want in your life, and not feeling guilty about that. Not feeling like you owe anybody anything. And I'm at a point in my life now where I really couldn't care less what people's opinions are of me. Once upon a time, it would have weighed heavily on me. Like, what people think about me. Why do they feel like that? Especially when you don't feel you've done anything to make them feel that way. And as you grow and as you get older, you realize that, do you know what? It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter what I do or don't do. They will have an opinion of me no matter what. So who cares? Let them be who they are, and you continue staying in your lane. You continue growing. You continue elevating. And I promise you, 20 years from now, they'll still be the same people that they are. They're so busy focusing on everybody else's flaws or perceived flaws that it's a distraction from their own. And I just think that if everybody focused on themselves, and if everybody stepped out of their ego and their pride, and if everybody stopped thinking they were so much greater than they are, burst that little bubble, bring yourself back down to earth, and just work on yourself. Work on the things that you need to do. Focus on yourself and where you need to go in life and the things that you need to do to heal yourself and become a better person. And it's funny because I feel like the people who are always hyper focused on everyone else, they're the ones who are most avoidant of dealing with their own crap. They're the ones who are so against dealing with their own trauma and putting in the work to make themselves better people. And I'm at a point in my life where I don't want anybody in my life who isn't going to help me elevate. I don't want anybody in my life who doesn't see the goodness that exists within me. I don't want anybody in my life who sees the goodness within me, yet will continue to try and destroy the character that they know I am. They will never succeed because I won't allow it. But some people have a lot of this. Some people have a lot of this. And those are the people that you really need to be wary of. And those are the people that you need to stay away from. So let's continue working on ourselves. Let's continue raising our vibrations. The people who don't value you, they're not important. The people who don't respect you, they're not important. The people who want to spread rumors, lies, or create a narrative about you that they know isn't true, but it makes them feel better than themselves, better within themselves, let them do it. You know who you are. You know who you're working on becoming. And every day that you put the work in to become a better version of yourself will just continue helping you to elevate, stand in your power, and walk the path that you are destined to. So I will be back next week with episode 9. This episode was a bit of it was a bit unpredictable. I wasn't expecting to speak about any of these things, but I did, and I'm glad that I did. I no longer care about people's opinions. I've spent far too many years of my life caring about what irrelevant people think about me, so much to the point that it's held me back, and they will never ever have that power over me and my life again. And if you have anyone in your life that is intent on dragging you down, not seeing the best in you, not helping you build, get rid of them. You don't need them. They will contribute nothing good in your life. Remove yourself, continue rising, continue elevating, and I will see you next week for another episode. Bye.